So think about this: Samsung, OnePlus. Who else do you have? LG. All those people. Pixel. They're all running Android. All right. Pixel's the only one that doesn't put their own user interface on top of it. Right. OnePlus is coming out with their own TV. I'm curious to see if they'll actually put a little bit of their own skin on top of Android TV OS. And that would be interesting because you have a Samsung. I have a Samsung S20, right? Beautiful phone. Love it. I'll tell you, I hated it. I missed my OnePlus when I switched. Absolutely missed it. I still think that my OnePlus 6 is faster than this device. And even though it had less RAM, less storage, I missed that device because of how that user interface was. So who knows if Google will allow them to put a little bit of their own flavor in some of these TVs that are coming out.
They could. I think I really do think if as some of this stuff is coming out, like again, Samsung, they have their own interface. So when I open up my Samsung, I don't feel like it's Android. I feel like it's Samsung. You know, it has its own lineup of apps at the bottom. You know, when I plug in my NVIDIA Shield, I'm like, cool, I'm on Android TV now. You know, I'm using my Samsung TV with the Samsung stuff. They have their own app store. They have their own stuff. I could go through all kinds of stuff and download whatever I need. But I really do think, I don't know. I think this is a change
that we need.
And I have a feeling because a lot of these TVs, especially the expensive ones, that 900N series that I got, is a beast. Like the specs on that thing, I don't want to get too far into
but
that.
Is it a beast when it comes to display specs or actual hardware specs?
Both.
Like, what's it got for?
Again, I don't want to go into the specs on that thing because then that's a whole other conversation.
Fine.
But when it comes to allowing third-party stuff, you know, there is several people already talking about how their main entertainment stuff that they use is their TV. They have everything plugged into not even plugged into the TV. They use their TV to download apps, and they use the TV hardware, software to run those apps. And the only, like, as soon as people say that, where they're just like, oh yeah, I have a TV, I have downloader, and I use TV Zion on my TV. I don't use an NVIDIA Shield. I don't use a Fire Stick. My TV does that. I have a TV that does that, and I know what that means. That means that TV has the hardware to do it.
Yeah.
What these guys are doing now with Android TV, with some of these lower end devices, the lower end TVs, is saying, let's open up those high specs where instead of you're paying $5,000, or if you want to go budget, $3,000 TV. I know, budget $3,000 TV, that's still pretty pricey.
That ain't my budget.
When I'm talking about $3,000 budget TV, you're talking about 4K, 8K. You're talking about something that is just playing.
Yeah, that's like your OLEDs and your QLED and all that kind of craziness.
Right. Those are now your budget TVs where it has that memory where you could add all those apps. Now, if Android TV says, you know what, we're going to take all those specs up there and all these different, and I shouldn't even say Android TV, these companies like The Ham. If The Ham or Hunsung or whatever they want to call themselves,
or Wintoot,
yeah, if they say, hey, you know what, we're gonna grab those specs, like whatever, like an NVIDIA Shield has, we're gonna put the Amlogic S905Y2 into our TV. We're gonna put everything that it needs for graphics, everything that it needs for audio.
You know who I'd like to see do that? B-Link. I'd like to see B-Link come out with a TV.
And you know what? That could happen.
It could. They're a big company.
Fire Stick, they didn't have a TV.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like, we're Fire Stick. Now we're Fire TV box. Now we're the Fire dongle. Now we're the 4K Fire Stick and the Cube. And somewhere between the Fire TV box and the dongle is when we got the Amazon TV. And they said, you know what? Let's just do this TV thing. And it's just like, wait a minute. Android TV could probably do the same thing.
It's amazing how they kept the price so low, though.
Yeah.
It's
Very low.
amazing. Amazing.
Now you're going to start seeing companies like B-Link, Buzz TV, Xiaomi.
Imagine if Buzz TV came with a TV.
Like, dude, businesses are going to have to do if people start adding Android TV as their operating system, and they're putting all that stuff that these devices have into your TV screen, they're going to be forced to either evolve into the TV portion and put all that hardware into TVs, or be like the pager when they're just going to fizzle out.
Well, I think there's one more point that I want to make on this topic, and the reason why I think my perspective has changed when it's come to sideloading a TV versus getting a device and hooking it up to a TV. I mean, I'm always going to have devices. That's just how we are, right? We're always going to have devices. But in this modern day and age, there's a beauty in simplicity, right? You see a lot of dongles coming out now. Why? Because it cleans up your entertainment system. You don't see it there, right? The shield, the cigar tube that we call it, or the Pringles can, or whatever you call it, that's not meant to be put on your entertainment unit in front of your TV. It's not. It's meant to be either put behind it or on the floor, which bothers me, but that's where it's meant to go. There's a beauty in simplicity. There's a beauty in no wires, right? You can just hide the one power cable that's plugged into the wall, mount the TV to the wall, and there's nothing hanging from it. There's no cables. There's nothing. And I think there's a huge market for that, especially in, those heavy populated metropolitan areas. I mean, like in Toronto, that's not too far from where I live, the apartment spaces aren't as big as when you go out to the more rural areas, right? People's income has come down a lot due to recent circumstances, and rent is not cheap. So you get smaller places. You have to do more with smaller places. And that's why I'm really interested to see where this stuff is going.
Yeah. And keep in mind, I know some everyone who's listening and watching this, and Next Level and I can agree with this. Am I gonna go running to buy the ham TV?
Yeah.
Not.
Am I gonna go ham for the ham?
I'm gonna go ham. But the one thing that we do, we keep an eye out on where this technology comes from, because it sparks something. And we know, because like in the beginning of the show, we said technology comes from Japan. A lot of those makers from China, South Korea, a lot of this stuff that comes out there, you don't hear of a Russian TV. You don't hear about products from Slovenia. I think I butchered their country's name. Slovenia? I don't know.
I think they're two different places.
You never hear. It's interesting. You just never hear these companies from different countries.
But I mean, we all kind of already understand the main companies have all of their products produced where, and if they're producing those products there already, the knowledge, the know-how, the materials, and everything else is already there. So it's just easier for them to create other off brands, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting with this one in particular. It's going to be very interesting when they create these off brands to see if this catches fire
in Korea.
Believe you're going to see a lot of changes happening.
Yeah.
A lot of changes. If this catches fire, there's
maybe not right away, but it has to catch fire there first.
Right. And it usually there's always that joke of if it always comes from Japan. Technology is always ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to anything tech related, really. In Japan, China, it's always there first, and then everybody else gets it later.